At this time, I will ask everybody to please rise so we can begin our program with a prayer. And I would like to ask our chaplain, Frank Signoretti, please come forward and lead us in a prayer.
Good afternoon. So good to see a large group that still remember and still appreciate or have learned and appreciate what has happened. I know it's so important, especially for those who've given their lives so we can keep rolling and to encourage everybody else. Just a side note with the word remember, I'm studying Italian, and the word for remember is ricordo, to record, to remember, to have something tangible. So you guys, this event has been written in your hearts and in your minds, and that's a great place to keep it. You know, never forget significant events of love and courage ever. All right, let's go ahead and pray and ask for blessing over this ceremony. Father, just thank you for the people who do remember when good rises up against evil, when help rises up against adversity and helps other people, God. This is what you've designed us to do, is to help. And so we honor those who have lost their lives in this terrible event where evil tried to conquer and did not win. Maybe took some lives, but you take care of that, God. So we continue, we press on in the hope that evil will stay down as we keep doing good. So we continue to pray for those who are serving now with the great potential of injury and harm, but we thank you for them. We pray for them, those who presently in our country serve in the military, the fire department, law enforcement, all those areas where they're helping people in need. Bless them, give them courage and strength, and protect them. We thank you what you've done so far to preserve the country. We're sorry for the parts of the country that turn away from you, but we are grateful for those of us here standing as a part, showing you we still care and we still believe. And thank you for all who put this together, those who are preparing the food. Bless it to us, and bless us for great fellowship today as we share in a common bond of love and pride for standing up and doing right. Amen.
I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for being here today. We're holding this inside because this morning it didn't look too promising out there, and I really don't trust the weatherman, so we're going to have this inside today. Again, thank you for being here for our annual ceremony to pay tribute and remembrance to all the firefighters, EMTs, police officers, and civilians who were killed 22 years ago, 22 years already, at the World Trade Center in New York City, the Pentagon in Virginia, and the fields of Shanksville, Pennsylvania. I would also like to wish for all of us to remember and pay honor to two of our rescue squad members who were killed in the line of duty in 1989 while responding to the hospital in the ambulance, and also two firefighters from Kent Store here in Fluvanna County who were killed in the line of duty a number of years ago. And lastly, but not by no means less, one of our own members, member of the fire department, Dakota Brigsby, who was serving in the USS Fitzgerald and was killed on the Fitzgerald. So please keep them in your hearts and minds. For those who don't know me, I'm Rich Constantino. I'm the Lake Monticello Fire Chief. Excuse me. I'm also the president of the board of directors. And from my accent, you know I'm not from around here. I was also a fire chief up in New York, Alfred, New York. Been a firefighter for going on 52 years. First of all, I'd like to thank all our members here for all their hard work and dedication in preparing for this event today. Without their efforts, this ceremony would not have been possible. Excuse me. At this time, I'd like to introduce the officers of the fire department. Assistant Chief John Campbell. He's not here. He's up cooking refreshments. Captain Dana Campbell, Captain Brian Ray, Captain Jason D'Antuono. We have Lieutenant Andrew Gray, Lieutenant Gray, there you are. And we have Lieutenant Perry Campbell. There he is. And Lieutenant Jordan Thacker. The officers who aren't present, they're all career firefighters and they're at work today. At this time, I'd like to say a few words about 9/11. Today marks the milestone 22nd anniversary of the attacks on this nation and our freedoms at the World Trade Center in New York City, the Pentagon in Virginia, and Flight 93, which we all know crashed in the fields of Shanksville, Pennsylvania. We are here to honor and remember those who performed the ultimate sacrifice so we can live free and enjoy many liberties we have without fear of reprisals or retaliation. Also, let's not forget the sacrifices of our military, who have been fighting for us and keeping us and our nation's security threat at bay, so we can live our lives protected and in peace. As we pay tribute to the 2,996 people who lost their lives on September 11th of 2001, I would like to remind everyone that the carnage and destruction has not stopped. As rescuers regularly sought to rescue trapped people inside the burning towers and in the Pentagon, it's still difficult for us to process and comprehend what would have been so unimaginable is turned out to be a harsh reality. The valiant rescuers went back to the sites day after day, night after night, working long towards duty, searching with such dedication for those innocent lives that were taken from us. To give closure to the families and the friends who witnessed the destruction and the loss of life. Today we honor them, and we remember them and their families along with everyone else who died on that day. To me, it's inconceivable that we still are losing loved ones after 22 years after the attacks. Today, more than 110,000 responders are being monitored, and more than 26,000 are suffering from 9/11 ailments. Again, as of today, 4,127 responders have died as a result of 911 illnesses. More people that are killed now from the aftermath than on that day. The New York City Fire Department has lost more firefighters, excuse me, from the illnesses than they did on 9/11, which was 343 firefighters. Immediately after the attacks, this country came together, putting our petty and partisan differences aside, and showed the resolve of the United States of America in our acts and our deeds to the entire world by flying American flags everywhere and demonstrating that we are united. However, as time has passed, memories of the carnage have subsided. In the beginning, the term "never forget" was a slogan used by everyone. As time has passed, this statement and message has seemed to have lost its impact. With the passage of time, people's memories have diminished and the zeal for remembrance has faded. That is why ceremonies such as this is so important, that we keep their sacrifices alive. We must ensure the remembrances stay with our fire department family and everyone else. We need to teach the young, especially ones in school, the facts of that day, keeping the politics and partisan opinions out of it. Thank you for being here, and remember, never forget. I'd like to introduce the dais, if you will, at this time. To my immediate right, you already met Chaplain Frank Signoretti. We have Miss Patricia Eager, the Vice Chair of the Board of Supervisors. Moselle Booker, who's the Chair of the Board of Supervisors. To my immediate left, John Lai, who is the Chief of Water Rescue and Vice President of the corporation, and President of the FRA, and the list goes on and on, John. Howard Lagomarsino, who's the Assistant Chief of Rescue Squad. Mike Kelly, who's on the board of directors from LMOA. Everybody knows Mr. Eric Dahl, the county administrator, and the chief of police or director of public safety, chief cook and bottle washer, Dave Wells. And you'll be hearing from them in a little bit. At this time, also, I want to recognize all the county firefighters, officers, and chiefs to the left to me, and the police officers, the sheriff's officers. The chief of the rescue, Eddie Shiflett, is away on vacation. So in his stead, I asked the assistant chief, Howard Lagomasino, to please come forward and say a few words if he wishes. Howard?
Afternoon, everyone. I've got my 15-page speech here. Oh, I forgot it. But anyway, we're here to remember the sacrifice of many first responders. And if you look around this room, everyone in here that's a first responder is continuing that sacrifice every day. They leave behind their families. They miss key events, birthdays, anniversary meals, to run out the door to jump on the trucks. And it's with the help of all of you in the community that we're able to continue to do this. We also get help from the county leaders in making sure we have all the equipment we need to provide those services. Just so you understand the breadth of that, at 3 o'clock in the morning, these people are getting up out of bed and coming to the station and getting on the trucks. Over at the rescue squad, every day, 7 days a week, there's a day shift for 12 hours and a night shift for 12 hours at staff, sometimes able to staff 2 and 3 ambulances. And all this works together with the county units, the Fluvanna County Volunteer Fire Department and the county responders. And we all work together to make sure that you are safe and that everybody goes home. Thank you for your support.
At this time, I'd like to ask Chief John Lai from our water rescue team, and Vice President of the board, to please come forward. John? Here you are.
Yep. Well, good evening, or good afternoon. Thanks everybody for coming out today. Many of you have heard me before. There's not a lot that I can add to the comments I've made over the years, but I'd just like to think back as to what is a hero. A hero is somebody who does something extraordinary. So those guys, men and women who ran in when everybody else was running out, those were the heroes. They gave everything so that somebody else could live. And I know very few of us in this building have had that opportunity to do that, but I know every one of the first responders, fire, EMS, law enforcement here, would do that if they needed to. So please keep them in your thoughts. We lost a firefighter here just recently. The funeral is in a couple days. So keep her in your thoughts as well. And thank you for your support.
Thank you, Chief. At this time, I'd like to introduce the board of directors. For those who don't know, our operational units, fire rescue, water rescue, answer to the board of directors, who oversees the total operation along with the auxiliary. Again, I'm the president. John Lai is the vice president. Jason Reitzmer is our treasurer. I don't think Jason's here. Steve Elliott, I know Steve is here. He's our secretary. Eddie Shiflett is the rescue chief. Howard Lagomasino is a large member of the board. Cecilia Agee, Mike Hinton, Ken Dahl, Jim Cullinan, Dave Cullen, and Diane Moore, the president of the auxiliary. That's our board of directors. And now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce the chair of the Westchester County. Listen to me, I'm back in New York. Fluvanna County Board of Supervisors. The Board of Supervisors, I don't know how involved you folks are with the monitoring. I'm doing this here 22 years. I've been chief for over 10 years. And every time we've gone before the Board of Supervisors, my memory, we never denied anything. Whatever we asked for, we proved that we needed it, and the board was on our side 100%. Just not even a month ago, we went before them through Mr. Dahl, asking for a fire training center that we don't have, never have. We have to travel to Buckingham County or Albemarle County to use their facilities. And a lot of times we can't get in because they're so busy. But the Board of Supervisors just approved a construction project for us in Fluvanna County to have our own fire training center, burn building. So, again, yeah. And none of that's possible without the cooperation and the backing of our Board of Supervisors. And Ms. Booker Moselle, please come forward.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is quite an honor to be able to stand here before you. This is my last year on the Board of Supervisors. 16 years I have served. And as I look out at you, I think each of you can remember what you were doing, where you were on 9/11/2001. Think about it. It brings up that same emotion. I remember I had just retired from the school system, Charlottesville, as a principal. And I came downstairs and I looked at the TV and I saw what was going on in New York. And you know what? I thought it was some kind of movie. All of us were glued to the television as we went through the bravery, the suffering that we saw for days and days. I stand here today and my heart says that we must continue to heal. We are healing every year, but we must continue. I appreciate the fire and rescue of Fluvanna County and what they do for us. When I leave the board, I will still be there to support the fire and rescue, first responders. We are so proud of you. I want to thank you for the opportunity to serve you, and I want to thank you for this time to just speak to you from my heart. And I wish the best for all of you and your families.
Thank you, Ms. Booker. I also like to recognize the Vice Chair, Ms. Eager, who requested not to say a few words, but Ms. Eager and Ms. Booker, unfortunately, leaving the Board of Supervisors after this year. I've worked with them the whole time, and again, I can't express how helpful they've been for us through the years. But the remaining people on the board is Mike Sheridan, Tony O'Brien from the Rivanna District, our representative. Tony wasn't able to make it. He has a commitment up north. And Chris Fairchild, the other board member. Okay. At this time, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce our County Administrator, Eric Dahl. He's the guy who holds it all together. I don't know how he does it. I wouldn't do his job for $1 million. And I'll tell you what, oh my God. My hat comes off to for Eric Dahl. Mr. Dahl?
So good afternoon. Like I said, certainly I want to, kind of hard to follow everything that everyone else said before me here today. But I'll just add a few points to it. One, I want to thank Chief Constantino and the volunteers and members that put this event on again like they do every year. So thank you to everyone that helped to kind of facilitate this at another great event. Another thing to think about too, as we stand here, just outside to our right, we've got a little bit of the World Trade Center here on this Lake Monticello property. And just to kind of put that in context, 3,000, in that building that day, I think it was over 27,000 people died in the World Trade Center. And just in little old Fluvanna County, we've got a little piece of that right out here. And I think that was from the dedication from Chief Constantino and everyone else back in what year?
2010.
2010. So like I said, I think that's a great thing to show for Fluvanna County. Secondly, as has been noted, we have a little about 3,000 people, just a little under 3,000 people lost their lives that day. Out of that 3,000 people, there was about 60 police officers, combination of NYPD and the Port Authority. In addition, as Chief Constantino noted before, there's 343 firefighter and paramedics that lost their lives that day. To kind of put that in a little kind of context to Fluvanna County has about, between the volunteer agencies, the sheriff's office, and the paid department of EMS, we have about 300 providers in Fluvanna County. And in a single day in the World Trade Center event that day, 343, actually 400 people lost their lives that day. So it's when I think about that, when I think about how many people from a public safety standpoint perished that day, it kind of puts it into context when you look at Fluvanna County and think of the individuals in here that represent and do their job every day. When people went into the tower that day, they didn't go in there because they were making lots of money or they were doing it to be rich. A lot of people that day knew what they were going into. They knew that they were sacrificing their lives, and probably were not going to be able to see their family again. On numerous accounts from officials that day, you had paid firefighters that were going into the World Trade Center that knew that they weren't going to be coming out, but they did that because they wanted to protect and try and reduce the lives that were lost that day. So just as a big thank you to Fluvanna County, to our first responders. We've got a lot of first responders in Fluvanna County that do the same thing. You know, they're not doing it because they're getting paid. I know the volunteers would certainly say that they're not doing it to get because they're being paid. They're doing it because they care for the individuals in this county. So I just want to thank all of the Fluvanna County first responders, volunteers, paid sheriff's office, everyone, the new Department of EMS that protects this county every day. So again, I just want to give a round of applause to everyone that does that. So thank you very much, everyone. And again, I want to thank Chief Constantino for his leadership, for just from a Fire and Rescue Association, to make sure that this event continues. And like I said, I just want to give all the thanks to Chief Constantino. So thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Dahl. I'd also like to introduce, I know she doesn't want to say a few words, but the person we work with every day in the county, our emergency management coordinator, Debbie Smith. Debbie, just... All right, this time wanted to introduce the chairman of the president of Elmo 8 Board of Directors. Unfortunately, at the last minute, Larry Henson couldn't make it, but in his stead, we have Mike Kelly, who's going to say a few words.
Hello, thank you very much. Actually, I'm kind of humbled to be in the company of first responders. I'm also an Army veteran, so I know what they've done for me during my career. And I guess I'd like to add a couple words on either the 12th or the 13th, 9/12 or 9/13. I was standing in front of the Pentagon, but it was still smoking. And we had lost some colleagues in that portion of the building that had gone down. So it was up front and personal for me. And I can imagine that we have many residents here that have came from New York. So I think that probably their families were impacted just like everybody else's. You couldn't stop your eyes from looking at the television and seeing what really went on. But I just think it's so good that we have this memorial here. We have one of our board members, other than myself, is here. It's Bradley Brott. Brad. And I know Larry couldn't be here, Gary Sillick, and Jeff Spinelli's here. He's one of our lieutenants. And Johnny Williamson, our secretary. And that's about all that we have for right now. So again, thank you so much for letting me say a few words. And I just, again, appreciate all the support that you do for our community. What do we have? Around almost 5,000 homes, 12,000 people. And I know we're kind of an aged population. I'm a representative, I'm 76. So I know those EMS vehicles are going to a lot of places in Lake Monticello all the time. And I tell people, if you've seen It's a Wonderful Life, just think if, like Jimmy Stewart, he said, I didn't want to be here and we didn't have this wonderful building, this wonderful structure, all these wonderful people and the ecosystem that supports them, that they couldn't roll and be at our place in a few minutes. So again, we thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mike. Our general manager fell my way. Tom Schauder, unfortunately, couldn't make it tonight. But next person, this afternoon, I'm ahead of myself. I'd like to introduce a good friend of mine and our Director of Public Safety and Chief of Police, Dave Wells.
Yeah, I texted Richie earlier and said, what are we doing, formal or less formal uniforms?
Yeah.
I show up looking like this, and I see him in his full-blown uniform, so sorry I'm a little underdressed. Also, I wasn't planning to speak until I got here, and Richie informed me I was going to speak, so I don't have note cards or anything prepared. But I've had the honor of serving this community for about 17 years. I was the sheriff's office for the majority of that. I retired last year as the chief deputy. I took over as chief of police last year, and I've been very just amazed by the volunteers. Like Mr. Kelly said, we do a lot of rescue calls in the lake. I had no idea how many until I started monitoring the rescue channel and fire calls. It seems like some days there's probably 10 or 15 calls coming into that lake. So we're very fortunate for everybody. Most of the staff does it without getting paid. It just amazes me. I see the same faces over and over again in every scene. So I just want to give a heartfelt thank you to all our volunteer firemen, rescue members. Let's get a big round of applause for them. And I also think I'm the last speaker. That means I'm between y'all and food, so I'll keep it short and just say thank you very much. It's been an honor.
Thank you, Dave. At this time, I just want to acknowledge a few people sitting in the audience. One of them, a firefighter here, has been here since, I think, 1986. A retired member of FDNY, lieutenant from Rescue 2, the elite Rescue 2, Lenny Smith. And in front of Lenny, a member of, I guess, 21 Engine in Manhattan, Bob Tolford. Bob, you want to say a few words?
I won't hold you up too long. I can't believe it's 60 years since I run on the Great Blue Fire Department of New York City. And as Ms. Booker said, everyone will remember what they were doing that morning. I was home writing out bills. My wife Muriel was out playing golf, and they got the word out on a golf course that there was something going on. My daughter called me. Says, do you have the TV on, Dad? I said, no. I put the TV on, and then I saw the second plane go into the second tower, and that was it for me. I don't know how many of you realize, other than firefighters and police officers and anyone concerned, when you lose a good friend, it hits you right here. Joe Woodward, who was a former member here for many, many years, him and I bought the flags up in the main building here with 1,000 people. And the first name is a chaplain, the chaplain of the Holy Name Society for Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens. And he was killed administering last rites to someone on the ground when someone jumped out of the tower and landed on him, and he was killed. That was number one of 1,000 that day. And I always said, when we went into a fire, If you lost an adult or something, you felt bad. You lost a young boy or something, a girl, you felt bad. You lost an infant, you really felt bad because you thought, well, maybe we could have got under the crib, moved the bed, something, and found that child. But when you lost a brother firefighter, that was the end. I don't know how many have ever gone down to the World Trade, but it's mind-boggling, the equipment and stuff that they have down there that you can see. It, as a firefighter, tears come to your eyes. As anyone, tears come to your eyes, just to know what all these people that lost their lives that day went through. God bless them all. And I know they're up in heaven now, looking down at all of us. And God bless all you here at Lake Monticello. You do a great, great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. Yeah, I failed to mention, but anybody who wants after this ceremony, memorial is right next door. If you haven't seen it before, please be our guest. Go up there. We acquired a piece of steel from One World Trade Center. Made a couple phone calls up there to some friends, and they asked for a piece of steel cut in the shape of a cross. And they went up and picked it up, and the members here, we got it in June. By September that year, they did that whole memorial. Every night there was 25, 30 firefighters here. John Lai painted the flagpole for us, his wife Val. This organization came together and put that memorial together in 2 months. We went out and a lot of the local businesses donated wood, the 6x6s. Cogswell Stone donated. If you see all the granite, I mean, the community came together for us, and we're very, very appreciative. At this time, I'd like to have Sean. Where are you, Sean? Come on over, Sean. She is going to do what we usually do every year. We don't have Jean with us this year, and Tyler, she's going to walk out and put the wreath by the steel. While she's doing that, I want to thank all the brothers and sisters from from Palmyra and Fork Union Fire Companies. They came up today. They come up every time. Chief Hot Rod, Gary Morris, and his staff. We work together every day. And alluding to what one of the speakers said, this organization, believe it or not, the fire department responds to about 1,000 calls a year, and the rescue squad responds to over 2,000 calls a year. That's pretty amazing statistics for a small organization as us. I mean, when I first got here in 2001, we were responding to 250, if that, fire calls. So this place has been growing exponentially, and sometimes it's hard to get volunteers to step up and do it, and without them, I don't know where we'd be at. So at this time, I would like to ask the American Legion Post to play taps and give us a 21 gun salute. So if everybody please rise.
Ready. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Recover. Order. Present arms.
Thank you. Please remain standing. I ask Lieutenant Perry Campbell to come on down. In tradition in the fire service, when a firefighter is killed in the line of duty, in New York City at least, every firehouse, they ring the bell in the firehouse, 4 rounds of 5 in honor of the fallen firefighter. So at this time, Lieutenant Campbell is going to signify the 4 rounds of 5. Thank you, Perry. You won the bet. You may please be seated. I would like to thank all of you for being here today. It's a little bit warm. It's not as bad as it's been in the past, but it's warm here. I want to thank all those who made this event possible, all the hard work of the membership. Especially want to thank Chief Campbell for his crew for preparing the meal. I want to thank Diane Moore, excuse me, and the auxiliary for, as you'll see when you go upstairs to eat, they've took care of the refreshments and serving and what have you. And I especially want to thank retired Battalion Chief Steve Elliott from Albemarle County, who's a life member here, for the PA system. Every year Steve comes through for us, and because of his generosity, we're allowed to have a quality PA system. Thank you, brother. And at this time, I'd like to ask Chaplain Frank Signorelli to please come up and give us benediction.
The biggest thing I remember, and I'll keep it short, but the biggest thing I remember, the day of, the days after, was we remembered something about our country, that it was given to us by God. And the churches were packed. Our mortality became very, very real. We were looking for answers. We were looking for hope. We were looking for encouragement. And God showed himself to be very, very true. For a country to go through what it's been on that day, those weeks and months, we joined together. It didn't matter who was who and what group was what group. We joined together, and through his strength and our encouragement and our working together, this country bounced back, amazingly so. Evil tried to do something very impactful, and it made an impact. But the country made an impact back. And says, you can't put us down. We'll keep standing. As long as we remember who gave us this country, who gave us the gift to serve unselfishly. That's an American trait. Let us never forget that. Pass it on to generations. But we instinctively fill the churches. The prayers were answered. They weren't late. Many of us were late to get to the churches and ask for help. But God responded to the need. So as we see these first responders go out and respond to the need, when you do pray, if you do pray, thank God for them. Where would we be if they didn't answer 3,000 calls a year? So they're a gift just as much as any other gift that God gives. So I'd like to pray for them, if you guys wouldn't mind, and then we can go and enjoy some fellowship, which makes God smile also. Okay, let's pray. Father, I pray for each one of our first responders, not only in our country, but here in Fluvanna. They could be doing so much more. But you have given them a gift, an undeniable gift to serve. And I know I am very thankful I get to see it firsthand so many times. You keep their bodies moving forward when they don't get enough sleep. You keep their families together when they don't get enough attention. And you keep them focused on the needs of their neighbors. Love your neighbor as yourself, you say, and we have it still here in Fluvanna. So I pray for them. I pray for continued endurance, focus, and fellowship. May nothing divide us here in Fluvanna. And thank you, God, for the food. We have plenty to eat. and may the fellowship be pleasing to your ears. Take care of us, God. We still need you. Amen.
Thank you, Frank. At this time, I'd like to invite everybody to go up to the Maple Room, up the stairs here, make a right, then left through the door there, you'll see it. And Joyce, join us with some refreshments. Thank you. Thank you for being here.